Then when it hits 75, what we then do is we, at 75 we wrap in foil, add the beef stock.
I thought it was 90.
No, 95 is our end goal. It hits 95, we pull it out and rest it.
Doesn't that look like there's 3 kilos in it? That looks like more.
So only 3. There's a lot of fat here. Muscle's heavy with fat.
Oh. Hi, welcome back to another episode of BBQ SON.
G'day. You might remember the last episode was the unboxing of the Traeger smoker. Since then I've cooked a couple of briskets, I've cooked some ribs and some other bits and pieces, and today I'm going to film us cooking a brisket. Now, you might have watched a whole bunch of videos of Americans cooking brisket, and they do 16, 18 pound cuts. This is Australia and there's only 4 of us in this household, and the good Lord knows I love my brisket, but I can't eat that much of it. So the very kind butcher has cut a brisket in half for me. And as you should know, there's the flat and the point. What I have done is I've asked the butcher, and he's cut it so that I have the back end of the cut, the point and the rest of the flat along the bottom. This will give us a beautiful opportunity to make burnt ends out of the point, and we can have slices out of the flat. What I'm going to do tonight is dress the meat. That means basically remove some of the excess fat. And then tomorrow morning, early in the AM, we're going to inject the meat, rub it, and then put it on the smoker for a good 10, 12 hour cook. And we'll film that all tomorrow and put it all together for you. But right now, let's start off with the dressing. First of all, I want to say that I'm not a butcher, I'm not a professional, and this is just me having a bit of fun and a muck around. But I've got a couple of pointers for you. Remember that your rub will not stick to fat and won't have as much effect on the flavour of the meat if it's got to penetrate the fat layer. So just as a rule, if you want your rub to really maximise its flavour on the meat, it's got to be on meat, okay? And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of fat all over this cut. So I'm just going to cut off most of the surface fat, and we'll have a chat while we're doing that. You might have seen the cutting board moving around underneath me on the marble bench top. Wet a tea towel and put it between the cutting board and the bench top, and just stops it from moving around. The good wife told me about that one, I didn't know about it. So here we go, we learn something every day. We've decided to separate the flat from the point, because as you can see, look at this beautiful piece of flat meat here. This will cook infinitely quicker than whatever the hell is going on in the middle here. So I've seen, it's a well-known strategy to separate your point from your flat, cook them as 2 separate pieces with 2 different temperature gauges, and then as they hit the desired temperatures, deal with them differently. And that's what I'm going to do. So right now we're going to separate these 2 pieces. So if you want to come around, what you want to do is, again, go gently and slowly. We want to just cut into the decal, which is between them. There we go, there we go. Yeah, see, and always make sure that we're going into fat and not meat. And just go gently and find your way. is how it was described to me. When they're actually cooked, these two pieces virtually fall apart. There we go, look at that. So that's your flat. We'll just take a bit more of this. We've separated both of the pieces now. We've got the flat, we've got the point. We're going to put them in the fridge. Tomorrow morning we're going to wake up really early. We're going to inject, we're going to rub, and then we're going to put them on the smoker. I'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
The rub forms the bark, and the bark is the best part of any brisket, as anyone who cooks brisket will tell you. So what we need to do is inject, see the little hole there? So the fluid comes into and out of that hole. I've got my Dr. Evil 18th century injector. So, in. All the way back. And then what you do, you can do the next one, I'll show you how to do it, is you create yourself a grid. So you just go a little bit in, squirt a little bit, see how the meat is actually, see how you see it puff up there?
Yeah. That's cool.
So, and I've gone across there, just a little bit of,
Huh?
yeah. And look, don't be afraid if it looks like a lot of the fluid is coming out, because you're working by degrees here. A piece of meat that has been injected. Yeah, we're coming. A piece of meat that's been injected will have more fluid than a piece of meat that hasn't. And as I said, we're operating by degrees here. So, your turn, man. So, remember, we're going to the grid. Across, we're about there. Just see how much I'm going down? Okay. Virtually nothing. And then in. You don't want to go all the way to the bottom, because you go all the way to the bottom, you push it out the bottom. There. Alrighty. Now you can use two hands if you want. No, further. Keep pushing. No, push the syringe in further. Push. Okay, now. Just a little bit. Push. There you go. In. Fantastic. Alrighty. Keep going. There it is. Beautiful. Well, that's the two flat there. How about one there and one there? Yeah, that's about it. There we go, mate. Well, there you go. That's the first one.
Oh, still got it.
Yeah, we've still got a whole bunch of juice left. Start at the end and work towards yourself. You always start with the furthest away, and you finish with the one closest to you, because you run out of puff as you go. You don't want your last one to be a long walk.
Yeah.
I was never able to master the temperature control on the Weber kettle, so that's why I bought the Traeger. And I've got to tell you, it's what's in the box. Perfect temperature control every time, beautiful smoke flavour over long cook, the internal integrated electronic probe always tells you when you're at the temperature that you want, and the internet website, the web interface for it, because you plug the grill into your home Wi-Fi network, and then the Traeger website manages the rest. You create an account attached to your grill and attached to your smoker, sorry. And then I was out shopping the other day through the day, and my cook went a little bit faster than I anticipated, and so I'm at the shops and my probe goes off saying that it's finished to cook. Well, at that point I was able to dial the temperature of the smoker down to just warm for the 30 minutes that it took me to get home, and then I was able to wrap it and do the next stage. So just can't go past it. I can't recommend the Traeger grill enough. Okay, so now that the meat's been injected, we want to apply our rub. A lot of people can use binders. American mustard is the most popular as far as I know, but my preferred method is just get a little bit of this beef stock and rub it all over the meat, just to give it slight wetness. There we go. And that's good enough. That's enough of a binder for me. Just a little bit wet so that the rub will stick. That's right, exactly, the rub will stick. So what we're going to do now is we're going to apply the rub. Correct. So what we're going to do now is apply the rub. I need a good hand. That's the secret to applying rub, is you have the hand that holds the meat and the hand that holds the container of your rub. So I'm just going to go wash myself off. Ensure that what you want to do is have your bark, and so you want the presentation side to be the second side you rub, because you don't want to interact with the bark too much with your tongs or your spatula or anything, because you want it to be nice and even. We want this to be a... Sure. So hold your shaker high, about a foot off the meat, and shake in big even shakes, because you're looking for an even coating. Don't forget the sides, got to do your sides. I am not using as much rub as I have seen other people use, and the reason for that is that between the smoke and these meat church holy cow rubs that I get, they're quite potent, and we're just a little Australian couple, a little Australian family, and we don't need that much pepper flavour. So there we go. So there it is. So that is the point meat, which I plan to turn into burnt ends down the track. So we'll push that off to there, and now it's barbecue's turn, it's Son's turn to use this new rub, Blue Smoke Kansas City Smoke Rub. We haven't tried this one before, but we're giving it a go for the first time today. So there you go, mate. You saw how it was done. Flavour, man. Smell that. That's going to be more of a chipotle.
Ooh.
Yeah, I reckon. Right, no, that's enough. That's enough. You can get carried away.
Yeah, you can.
You certainly can. To start the Traeger, you push the button once, you turn the dial to your selected temperature, you push the button again, then it'll ask you to push the ignition to start, and it starts. We're using hickory pellets today for the first time. Due to the COVID thing, they were impossible to get for weeks and weeks. But I was able to jag a bag last week, which is really the reason I'm doing this video, because I wanted to wait for the hickory pellets before I did it. See the auger taking the, I think they're cherry pellets from the last cook down to the bowl to be burned up. It'll probably take half an auger's worth to actually get the smoke at a temperature, so I'm not really concerned about that flavour. And honestly, cherry's an awesome flavour. Who'd complain about that? People are often asking me, how many bags per cook do you need? You know, how efficient is it? This bag is 40 Australian dollars. I will get roughly 30 hours cooking out of this at low and slow temperatures, anywhere from 100 C to 125, 130 C. So, you know, it is what it is. I think it's fair, and here we are. So when you buy the Traeger, unfortunately out of the box, it does not come with this front shelf, which is a real shame. The front shelf makes putting things down, lifting the lid, putting things in so much easier. Show us how it's done, man. Yeah, I paid, oh gee, Traeger's got a lock on imports into Australia, so whatever I pay for it's whatever anyone else is going to pay for it. I just got it from Barbecues Galore. There, see, look at this. So what'll happen now is, when we're getting ready to put our meat in, We'll just rest it on the tray, lift the lid, in it goes. It's fantastic. I absolutely recommend everyone get the front tray. As we approach our desired temperature of 100, we're going to start getting everything else ready. There's no point in really preheating a grill like this, because the second you open the door, you lose 20 degrees straight away. So, as we know, we're almost there. Let's get going. First things first, we're going to put our meat in with a water bowl, because I have found that it's really good for the moisture of the meat through the cook. There's the grill. Don't we love that sound? Now, a lot of people will also talk about stack side, pellet side, front, back, top tray, bottom tray. In my experience, guys, it doesn't really seem to matter. So what I'm going to do is just put the water pan in the middle. This is boiling water, because you don't want to actually make your cooker work to heat the water. You just want it to be near the boil, so it's coming off and doing its and keeping the chamber humidified. Here is our point. Here is our flat. Now you'll notice that the flat is much thinner than the point. That's probably an inch thick at most. What we're going to do is put our temperature probe into the flat, because I reckon it will reach desired temperature quickest. I'm going to put that somewhere into the middle. Now we're only set our temperature as 100 degrees, so it will be a slow cook. Yeah, look, to be honest, I haven't actually separated the two pieces before, and I don't really sure what's going to happen. But when it hits 75 internal, we're going to wrap it until it gets to 95, the desired temperature. So there you go, guys. We've dressed, injected, rubbed the meat, and now we've put it on our cooker. The time is, 10 to 7. We got a bit of a late start. Getting out of bed was too hard this morning. I'm expecting a 8 to 10 hour cook, a 2-hour rest, and then eat. And I'll show you the whole process. Alrighty, the meat's hit 75 internal. It's time to pull it off, wrap it in foil. We're going to add a little bit of beef stock and my favourite sauce, Blues Hog Original. Just mixed up and heated. You don't want to put your fluid into the foil cold. Let's go. Come on, have a look at this. There they are. Look at that bark on the point. Okay, let's get this happening. So, gonna remove the thermometer. There you go, you got your sauce there, mate. Hold the spoon so it doesn't fall in. Just pour a little bit in on the side, not over the meat, on the side. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to wrap it. I don't know if there's an art to this. If there is, I don't know it. I just wrap it up. Nice and tight. I leave the meat in the foil tray now because it's resting in that liquid and I don't want it to drain. There we go. That is going to turn into some absolutely fantastic burnt ends very soon. Alrighty. Yep, that's it. Alrighty. And we'll just wrap this one. We can remove the water tray now because that's not going to actually do any good in cook anymore. What we're going to do is meet the thermometer back in. There we go, it's recording 72 degrees internal. So we'll close it up. Must have just got a different piece because it was 75 when I pulled it out, I assure you. So, close it up. I set the temperature to 125 just to chuff it along to get to the 75 internal for the pre-wrap phase. I'm now going to dial it back to about 110 because inside the foil it's going to cook really quickly. And according to my schedule, I've got another 1 or 2 hours I want to keep it in the foil just to absorb all that moisture and reconstitute. Then we're going to rest it for 2 hours and then we eat. So, changing the temperature on your Traeger, down to 110, there it is. And as you can see, the number on the right is your desired temp and the number on the left is the current temperature. And it just does the rest. So there we go. I'll see you again when it's 95 internal, at which time we'll pull it off and we'll rest it and I'll show you how we do that as well.
Welcome back.
Okay, here we are. It's now 4 p.m. We started the cook this morning at 7. We went from 7 till 2 open to the air, getting to our 75 degrees internal. Then between 2 and 4, it's been wrapped in foil. And now, if we check our, that is like it's pushing in a butter, which is the objective. Yeah, we went a little bit over on our point, but that could not be more tender. That is the most tender ever. So, let's pull this one out. Let's check our flat. What's our flat have to say for itself? Oh, so tender as well. 90, 91, 92.
Can we reach the 93,
and 85, 87.
Well, either way, we take
Not good. Okay, so we're going to let our flat cook a little bit longer. I've turned the temperature up to 150 and I've put a bit of potato bake in there. Might show you how to make that another episode. But I'm going to have a crack at smoking the potato bake to get some of that nice smoky hickory smell into it. So what we do now is...
Wouldn't it be the hickory taste?
Hickory taste as well, Will. So what we do now is we have prepared our old esky. We poured some boiling water in there to bring it up to heat. Now I just chuck the... There we go.
And then you just put a towel over.
Put a towel over it for added insulation because remember this is resting. Now we're resting our meat. The objective of resting your meat is to let it sit there and cool as slowly as possible so the muscles can relax and it can absorb all of the moisture back in. So when you cut it, it's juicy and the moisture just doesn't pour out. When our flat hits 95 internal, I'll add it to the esky as well. We've got roughly 2 hours of resting. And then we'll have dinner and I'll show you what it's all about.
See you then.
Look how tender that is. There we go, 95. Alrighty, so there we go. Let that go. You see, we've already had a little bit of fluid loss. So I may have actually punctured the foil at the bottom, which is a disaster, when I was probing earlier. Damn. Oh well. I'm going to put our sheet over the top. Now it's going to rest for another hour and a half to 2 hours. We're cooking some potato bake, we're going to have some corn, we're going to have some cornbread, and we're going to eat it with some coleslaw. Coleslaw, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
You're in for a treat. This is a fantastic meal, and I'm really looking forward to 2 hours' time.
See you then.
And now the moment of truth.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
This is the point. It's been resting for just over 2 hours.
See how it...
Oh, the smell is fantastic. Smell that. Oh boy. So the plan is to turn this. Oh, feel how soft that is.
That's definitely going past the full test.
Oh no. It might actually be too squidgy, which is...
No.
That's okay, that's okay. Alrighty. So
Moment of truth. Sort that out.
Alrighty. Now, we know the meat,
I know this is fun.
meat runs that way. So the grain, so we always want to cut across the grain. Mmm. See that marbling? Not much smoke ring this time. Got the bark here, try that. There you go, mate, we'll go halves. It's like jelly. Mmm. Alrighty. So, we're making burnt ends out of the point. What that means is we're going to cut them nice, about inch big cubes. Then what you do, look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Here we go.
Let's just, no,
Here's another
turn
one.
it into
Here's
burnt
another one.
ends.
There you go. Mmm.
Turn them into burnt ends.
Alright, you're right.
They'll be better.
Otherwise I'm going to eat it all before it even gets there. Okay, alright.
What do you mean you'll eat it before you even get to dinner?
Oh, brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. And then what we do is we just put these beautiful cubies into some sort of container. And then this is some of my, as I might have shown you earlier, Blues Hog original sauce. You just pour that over the top. Then give it a stir up so that each piece is covered. And then what we're going to do is put it back in the oven. And as I said, if you are downstairs and doing this for real, you would put it just back in your smoker. But my smoker's been off for an hour or more now. There we go. Just put that back on heat for 5 or 10 minutes. That'll let the sauce go tacky and sticky, and those things will just be basically finger food, and they are amazing. All right, now the flat. Unfortunately, I'm almost certain I poked a hole through the bottom of the foil and see all that liquid in there. I hope that doesn't play against us too much.
If it does, it won't be too good.
There we go. That is our beautiful piece of flat. Okay, well let's go one big, long, barky slice. See that beautiful smoke ring? All right, so pencil thick slices.
See if it is.
There you go, what do you reckon? Yeah, let's see. Does it pass the pull test? You know, I'm going to give that...
I'm going to give that a tick in the
I'm going to give the pull test, taste test. We're going to do the taste test.
Oh. Okay.
That's the first time we've used that rub.
Yeah.
That's a great rub. Let me see if we can do the clapper.
If it doesn't, it's bad.
All right. See if we can do the clapper. That's a clapper right there, Jack. Alrighty. Okay, I'm going to make up a plate. We'll taste everything at the table.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
See you then.
Alrighty, good. So, and here it is. We started cooking this morning at, the meat went in the smoker at 7 a.m. It is now 6:30 p.m. This is the fruit of our labour. We've got beautiful brisket flat. We've got some potato bake. We've got some cornbread, corn, coleslaw, and burnt ends. I'm going to start with my favourite piece, which is the burnt. Oh, I feel how soft that is. Oh, good. And oh, that Wagyu cut, all that slow cooking, the hickory flavour, the rub, the Texas rub. What do you think, Will? Awesome. Now grab some brisky. Oh. That is so good. That is a different, that's a Kansas City rub. I don't know my American cities one from another, but it certainly is a different spin on the Texas which is a lot more peppery. The Texas is very peppery. The Kansas City one is just a different type of flavour. And of course, yeah, look, can't go wrong with your old potato bake. Cheese, potatoes. Yeah. All right.
I definitely think we could eat a
Slaw,
full biscuit.
corn. Corn's got butter and salt on it. And here we go. There you go, mate. You have a piece of that.
Thanks.
And barbecue mum's cornbread. It's a little bit browner than normal. A bit of an oven disaster, but I'm telling you, the perfect accompaniment to slow-cooked meal is cornbread. Well, you got anything to say, mate?
No.
Well, there's nothing to say at this point. I know I'm going to eat my body weight in burnt ends tonight. And yeah, you all guys have a, hope you learned something today. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I could not believe